There are some major developments happening over at Square Enix. In one of my previous videos, I talked about the shutdown of Luminous Productions, the development studio behind Forspoken. Announcement of the shutdown happened 1 month after Forspoken's launch. Once upon a time, Luminous Productions was known as Business Division 2. They worked on Final Fantasy 15 before working on Forspoken, and now Luminous Productions is being merged into Square Enix as a whole, which is indicative of how poorly Forspoken performed, not just critically, but also commercially. We don't have exact sales figures for the game, but the fact that Square Enix is so shy to share those numbers, that silence speaks pretty loudly. Now, in Square Enix's official statement about this, they headlined the blog post here with reorganization within the Square Enix group. And it seemed as though they weren't just referring to the dissolving and merging of Luminous Productions. They're also talking about some leadership changes that are about to take place very soon in the form of the CEO, Yosuke Matsuda, getting replaced. If that name seems familiar to you, that's because I've talked about him on my channel for the past 2 New Years, because on New Year of 2022 and New Year of 2023, this guy put out a letter basically saying, I am so excited for blockchain, NFTs, metaverse, crypto, and how we can integrate this in video games. Greeted gamers and fans of Square Enix with the worst possible outlook possible at the start of every year these past 2 years. So in this 2022 letter, for example, he talked about how in 2021 the term NFT gained quick currency. He said cringe things such as, I see 2021 not only as Metaverse Year 1, but also as NFTs Year 1, given that it was a year in which NFTs were met with a great deal of enthusiasm that has crashed hard since. As things currently stand, all NFTs have been so far are fads with no long-term legs. In this letter, Matsuda further expressed excitement for the prospect of blockchain games and this whole idea of the play-to-earn concept, and he framed the idea of playing games to have fun as if it were this alternative mode of playing rather than the whole point of playing. And then in the 2023 New Year letter, he continued to talk about how, in terms of new business domains, we are most focused on blockchain entertainment, highlighting just how much Square Enix is planning to lean into crypto, blockchain, NFTs, and Web3 in the near and long-term future. There's talk here about how blockchain gaming must operate based on a self-sustaining, decentralized model. Multiple blockchain games based on original IPs are under development within Square Enix. And the plan is for the company to triple down on NFTs in 2023. It reads right here, we hope that blockchain games will transition to a new stage of growth in 2023. Oh, please, God, no. This is an agenda that Square Enix has talked about before. Back in June of 2022, it was reported that Square Enix wants to develop story-focused NFTs. And while they said back then that it's still too early to consider making Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy blockchain games, they never said never, that you said it's too early. So one day they're going to take these IPs and engage in sacrilege. In the meantime, though, we get stuff like Symbiogenesis, which when it was trademarked, people initially thought it might be like a Parasite Eve reboot or sequel, but nope. It's an NFT game, NFT collectible art project, as Square Enix puts it. So that's a big part of the legacy that Yosuke Matsuda will leave behind as president and representative director. Once his tenure as Square Enix president ends, one of the most fresh things that'll be on our minds, that'll be synonymous with his name, is just the level of obsession that he had for NFTs, the level to which he's pushing something that near universally no gamer wants to see seeped into their video gaming experiences. The note that Matsuda is going to end his tenure on is that of greed, of avarice, and of pursuit for business-minded gold rushes that will be detrimental to a widely beloved medium. Which is why when I initially heard about Yosuke Matsuda getting the boot and getting replaced, I breathed a sigh of relief until I realized who he's getting replaced by. All of that is detailed in this document. This notification shares some details about the intentions behind why the president is getting replaced. The board of directors of Square Enix announced today the following proposed changes regarding the position of representative director at the company and a consolidated consolidated subsidiary. Proposed change in the company's president and representative director. Reason for proposed change: under the rapid change of business environment surrounding the entertainment industry, the proposed change is intended to reshape the management team with the goal of adopting ever-evolving technological innovations and maximizing on the creativity of the company's group in order to deliver even greater entertainment to its customers around the world. And then below that, you'll find a chart that details who Masuda is going to get replaced by. There's somebody going by the name Takashi Kiryu, who was formerly a director at Square Enix and will become the president and representative director if the board of directors approves of this proposal, while Yosuke Matsuda will be moving on from his previous role as president and representative director. Below that, we have details about Takashi Kiryu's tenure at Square Enix and the kinds of positions he held at the company from 2020 all the way to June 2022. And finally, down here, it is detailed that if the board of directors approve the replacement of the CEO, the shift is officially set to happen on June of 2023. The change is to be officially finalized pending approval at the 43rd annual shareholders meeting scheduled for June 2023, and the meeting of the board of directors to be held thereafter. So who is this Kiryu fellow? He's certainly not the Chad from the Like a Dragon series. He is somebody who's been at Square Enix for not that long, but before that, he was at a company that is indicative of the kind of leadership we can expect from him, as detailed by news outlet Kotaku here via an article that reads, Square Enix CEO who constantly pushed NFT games to be replaced. And scrolling down, it is detailed that Yosuke Matsuda has served as the Final Fantasy publisher CEO for 10 years and spent the last couple of those hyping up NFTs and other blockchain scams, and now is being replaced by a relative newcomer pending shareholder approval in June. Takashi Kiryu, the new CEO, has only been at Square Enix for a couple years, and prior to that was general manager at the Dentsu Innovation Initiative, a business group exploring exciting opportunities in, among other things, the metaverse. So yeah, if you think that Matsuda was given the boot because the board of directors weren't pleased with how much he was leaning into blockchain, crypto, NFTs, metaverse, Web3, and all that jazz, unfortunately, you'd be dead wrong. The reason he got the boot was because just the company's performance under his leadership has not generated the kinds of profits that the company wanted to see. As Kotaku highlights in this report, Square Enix hasn't been in a great place recently. Its stock price has trended down over the past 5 years, and it's struggled to find hits outside of the mobile gacha games and its core franchise, Final Fantasy. They recently sold off some of their Western studios, including Crystal Dynamics, the developers of Tomb Raider, and Eidos Montreal, the developers of Deus Ex. They sold these studios off to Embracer at a dirt cheap price point. It was like a couple $100 million for the studios and all of the IPs attached to them, just for a couple $100 million sold to Embracer Group. On a corporate level, that is just an unprecedented bargain. Square Enix was in a rush to get rid of him because the IPs under these development studios just haven't performed particularly well. Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Guardians of the Galaxy, also developed by Eidos Montreal. These are games and IPs that just haven't been able to reach a level of revenue that Square Enix found satisfactory. Guardians in particular, while it surprised in terms of it being well received, unfortunately, despite being a better than expected game with a lot of heart, disappointed in its sales. And I guess at this point, Square Enix is kind of fed up taking risks with these development studios, with these IPs that have just not proven to be fruitful. It's this level of underperformance in IPs that are outside of Final Fantasy or their mobile gacha stuff that has made Square Enix's stock price stumble and fumble. It's what's led to so many underwhelming and disappointing and less than ideal financial results these past few quarters. And so it seems as though Square Enix's board of directors made the decision that the company needs new leadership that can course correct the ship into a more profitable direction. And unfortunately, instead of the company wondering what about these games didn't work and how can we just improve our game releases, how do we improve our development processes, how do we make better games, instead of asking these questions, their solution seems to be to pivot towards something that will make them easier money, that's more monetizable, despite it being a morally questionable landscape where crimes, theft, cons, schemes, scams, and you name it are commonplace. Despite it being something that doesn't actually add anything to the medium or makes it more compelling, their mindset is there's this gold rush of a scam that other businesses are pursuing. How do we exploit NFTs, Web3, blockchain, crypto to just be able to get our numbers up. It's about how do we better exploit methods to drain people's wallets. I think this article puts it aptly when it says Kiryu's background and Square's announcement makes it seem like Square Enix might be preparing to double down on new tech trends and just feels it needs a fresh executive with more experience in that realm to sell the snake oil. Matsuda already said in his 2023 New Year press release that we hope that blockchain games will transition to a new stage of growth in 2023. I get the sense that Square Enix is even more committed to that now with a new president who has more of a background in this area of blockchain and crypto and NFTs and Web3. I don't think it's insane to assume that they want to explore play to earn a lot more than play to have fun. This shift in leadership just makes me more worried that outside of established IPs like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, Square Enix is just not going to really be innovating or pushing for compelling gaming experiences that are genuinely fun. Instead, they're going to be pushing for monetizable mechanics that can manipulate people and lure people into investing. It's starting to feel like Square Enix will try to push creativity less and instead push more for engineering, systematic, mechanical manipulations. It's kind of like how live services tend to prioritize the in-game shop more than the video game itself. The in-game shop is always running smoothly, it's always patched very quickly, it's always running at 100%, whereas the video game itself might launch unpolished, unfinished, have all kinds of issues, take forever to patch, and the communication surrounding it might be less than ideal. If you put a live service game publisher in a situation where both the in-game shop and the video game are both broken, and they have to choose which one to fix first, guess which one they'd pick? I would put money down that they will prioritize fixing the shop before fixing the game. That's not even a matter of speculation. We have seen this happen throughout the course of past live services. Similarly, I feel like Square Enix's priorities will shift in that direction, where the economy that can be established by crypto, blockchain, NFTs, Web3, metaverse, that stuff will take priority over just genuine creativity and passion for something that they want people to have fun with, about just actually making a game that's fun to play, rather than prioritizing making the economic monetization machine run smoothly and make sure that's well oiled. And this is generally the direction where a lot of corporations seem to be headed in. Recently, YouTube replaced former CEO Susan with this dude who is very much a crypto bro who has expressed enthusiasm about the future of blockchain, crypto, NFTs, metaverse, you name it, who has expressed plans previously to try to integrate more of that stuff into YouTube. I feel like something similar is happening with Square Enix, where they're trying to prioritize leadership who have experience in that crypto blockchain landscape. And it just sounds very dystopian for gaming. This is not the direction where I'd like to see a company like Square Enix, with so many beloved IPs under its umbrella, head in. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the recent leadership shift that is being proposed to take place within Square Enix. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.